Kia ora, I'm Mike King, former stand-up comedian, now mental health awareness advocate and spokesperson for the Key to Life Charitable Trust. Let's start the conversation.
Talofa, I'm Joseph. Growing up and having migrated from Samoa with my family, looking for a better life, there was a lot of social expectations. I couldn't see my place in the bigger picture. At 18, I was dealing with depression and felt a bit lifeless. I remember looking back and thinking, how did I get to this place?
Hi, I'm Ariana. Both my mum and my dad struggled with substance abuse and mental illness. That led to my grandparents having to take care of my brother and myself. At 9, my mum left, but over the years I managed to build a strong relationship with my dad. I've struggled with depression, anxiety, and was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder.
Hi, I'm Annalise. I have struggled with bouts of depression from a young age. I had a brain aneurysm and also battled with breast cancer. People didn't see me for who I was. They just saw the depression. They didn't know what to say or how to be around me.
I began battling depression in my 3rd year of high school. My coping skills were self-harm. I went through a phase of drinking, and when I was through that, I ended up just staying in bed all day. You don't really feel like you're living, you're just surviving. Being young, people saw my drinking as stupid and reckless. My self-harm is attention-seeking, and staying in bed all day is just being lazy. No one really quite understands, and it's really hard to understand yourself.
Stigma is a huge part of society. It's a huge part of who we are. It controls just about everything we do, that fear of what society will think about what we do. Self-stigma, the thing that no one talks about. It's those little conversations that we have with ourselves, those little moments of self-doubt that we're always having. One of my most favorite songs of all time by George Benson, but later covered by Whitney Houston, The Greatest Love of All. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all, which is super hard in New Zealand, because if you love yourself in New Zealand, mate, you're a bit up yourself. Be up yourself. Just be up yourself. I mean, I wish I'd been up myself when I was much younger. I wished I'd loved myself instead of getting my self-esteem from the approval of other people. I spent my whole life trying to get people to like me because that's where I got my stigma from the approval of other people. That's why I became a comedian, because I felt like if I could make people laugh, then people liked me.
Self-stigma for me meant I felt unworthy. I had thoughts like I may be crazy or I'm nuts. I had low self-worth and didn't value myself. I expected less from others and allowed people to treat me badly. I began self-harming and isolated myself. I became 2 different people. Who I was at school was bubbly, but at home I became destructive and lost control.
Self-stigma for me is the thoughts of I'm useless, I'm worthless, am I good enough? What's my real purpose?
Self-stigma was my thoughts that reflected how people were treating me. I began to have thoughts like I'm worthless, not valued, and that I didn't have anything to contribute. Because of these thoughts, I lost my identity. Everyone said I couldn't do it, so I wouldn't do it. I became withdrawn, so I wouldn't get involved.
When you're surrounded by stigma for long enough, eventually you begin to believe what people say. You're not sick, you're just lazy. It's not mental illness, it's just you.
My daughter was a big part of overcoming self-stigma. My thought pattern became, if I think it, I'll project it. I don't want her to think that those thoughts are normal. I want a better life for her. Now I don't believe those thoughts. Deep breathing and mindfulness were important strategies. I learned to be in the moment. My advice to you is to be kind to yourself. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. One thing I've learned is if you do something for someone else, it doesn't work. You need to do it for yourself.
What helped me overcome was my actual Christian faith. I made new friends and also have them surround me. People that would encourage me, that would build me up with confidence, and also people that would affirm me. I let myself open with positive affirmation, and that flooded out all the negativity. You still have your moments, I still have my moments, and those thoughts still come at me, but you know what, I've actually found some purpose in what I do. My advice to you is just to believe in yourself. Be the best you can be. It does get brighter.
The tools that I used to overcome was talking about it with someone, and somewhere I felt safe. I began going to counselling, and I challenged my "I'm worthless" thoughts and used positive meditation and mindfulness. There's a quote that says, "If a bird flies over your head, that's okay. When it stops and nests, then you have a problem." This is how I view those self-stigmatising thoughts. I had to let it go and not let it nest. I just had to put one foot in front of the other.
I had to take the pressure off myself, stop comparing myself to others, and look back at how far I'd come and realise that I could still get to where I wanted to be. I just had to realise that it was a process and I'm in the middle of it. One of the strategies I used to overcome self-stigma was reaching out to my psychologist. She taught me how to validate myself, and after a while, it became automatic. It was second nature. Do something that will prove yourself wrong, because often our negative thoughts are not based on fact. Work on self-validation. It was the #1 thing that got me through. Sometimes the little things you tell yourself can really make the biggest difference.
So what do I do when I'm having a bad day? Well, the first and most important thing I do is I tell the people that I love I'm having a bad day. There is only one thing worse than having depression, having stigma problems, having stigma issues. There's only one thing worse than that. And that's living with someone who has those issues and them not communicating with you. When I'm having a hard time, just tell the significant people in your life. Just tell someone.